everyone. I'm Mrs. Clinton from the counseling department, and I'm here with Mrs. Gable, Mrs. Rosamond, and Ms. Pavlowska, and we're here to talk about the college essay. Now, the college essay is the one piece of the application that hasn't happened yet. Your transcripts have already been finished, your grades have happened, your activities have already happened, but the essay is something that's fresh and new that you can put forward to present yourself in the best light to the schools. So we want to think about your takeaway message. What do you want the schools to know about you? What impression do you want them to have about you as a student? And what pieces about you are not already represented in the application? If we know that you've been on the soccer team and a club soccer team and you've coached soccer and you've refed soccer, then we know that you love soccer. But is there another piece of your personality and your interests and your hopes that we want to portray in the essay? And that's a nice way to be able to use your resources here. So when we think about what makes a good essay, there are a number of different elements that really make a strong personal statement. It's really important that it has your voice and that it really does show your personality as much as possible. When we think about your reader, your admissions counselor is going through application after application after application. And when they get to the essay, this is the part that they look forward to. This is the part that they get to know you and they want to be swept away and really drawn into this story. So you have a captive audience. It's your trick then to make it entertaining. So you want to catch them right away with a strong opening. You want to be able to use engaging examples throughout your writing, and you want to finish with a strong ending that really shows some meaning, that you can say, this matters because, I've grown because, here's my insight, my self-reflection that I've learned from this experience. We definitely want to make sure that your essays are grammatically correct. They use the same verb tense throughout. And we do want to make sure that they are the right length. So we don't want to go over the 650 word count, but don't feel like you need to go to 650 words. An effective essay at 250 can be perfect. So sometimes shorter is better. So this is just an example of what the common application is going to look like. So you get comfortable with the dashboard. And this is where the writing section goes, and you would be uploading your essay to this portion of it. So you're going to write one personal statement that's going to be applicable to the common application, and you're going to upload it once, and that will go to all schools. So this is a list of the Common App essay prompts for this year, and you can read through them. But I think one of the things that's important to take away here is what kinds of students are schools looking for? And I really appreciate that question number 2 asks you to reflect on failures, setbacks, challenges that you've experienced in your life. Schools expect that you're a human and you're a person, and you've had disappointments in your life, and really maybe that you've been a risk taker and you've put yourself out there. So I think that that's an important takeaway. I appreciate that they're also asking if you've ever challenged a belief or stood up for something that you were passionate about, if you have interesting ideas to solving problems. So I think they're really looking for well-rounded, unique students. Similarly, these are some of the prompts for the coalition application. There are some colleges that will only accept this application format, but you can see that they're very similar in theme. Again, this one, I'll draw attention to the second prompt asks you to think about a meaningful contribution you've made. Again, this is schools that are looking for people that will be a contributing member to their class and give back. So we suggest that when you're doing these, you take a look at writings that you've done in the past. Perhaps you've practiced the personal narrative before in years past, and maybe you already have a great idea that you can rework and maybe bring it up to speed to this year. So really take a look at things that you've already written. The other thing that we recommend is please save your drafts. If you have an idea and you say, all right, forget that this idea isn't good, save it, because you might come back to that and that draft might be helpful in the future in answering a different question.
So a lot of people wonder, where do I get started with this essay? And I think that sometimes kind of the getting started feels like the hardest part. And I think that you really want to try to think about your reader, the admissions officer, when you're getting started, and what you want that admissions officer to learn about you. And I really sometimes encourage students to think backwards when they're working on their essay, as opposed to, you know, not necessarily start with the prompts or the topics, but what might you want the admissions officer to learn about you after they've read that essay. And so we're going to show a little video now, and then we'll talk about brainstorming.
Hey, what's the matter? I'm trying to write my college application essay. What have you done to better the lives of others? I got nothing. Are you kidding? For you, that's easy. Yeah, you're always doing great stuff like that. Iggy, you dropped ice in your bowl? You get those? Thank you. You could leave the other stuff. Thank you. This game is so addictive, but I could never beat level 6. Would you mind doing level 7? I'm gonna get you to 10. What if you go into labor and the cab is 3 minutes away? Or 4 minutes away? 5 minutes away? When the baby arrives, can you come to the hospital with us? I do kind of do good stuff. I'm gonna crush this essay right after I get Nat to level 12. So addictive.
All right, great. So, you know, I think that the point of that video is that, you know, sometimes we think, I don't have, you know, amazing qualities. I haven't done huge accomplishments. I didn't save the world, you know. And really the idea for watching that video is that a lot of times it's really the small things, the things that you do that really make a difference for others that are great to be writing about. So we encourage students to be doing some different brainstorming activities to help figure out what to write about. And this is a way to kind of figure out sort of that backwards thinking about what do I want the admissions officers to know about me and to take away learning from me about this essay. So these are some ideas of questions that you can be using for brainstorming, thinking about how your family and friends might describe you, accomplishments that you might have had, and really thinking about some of those small accomplishments, things that might have seemed insignificant at the time, but when you think about how that impacted your life really was a large thing. Thinking about your interests, what you're passionate about, what you enjoy, and sometimes things that have been challenging for you that have then led to where the learning in the challenge has led to growth. Here are some more brainstorming questions that you can use. And certainly as you're doing your brainstorming, we don't expect you to answer every single one of these questions, but sometimes looking through these types of brainstorming questions can help you to spark some ideas about what types of topics you might want to write about. We'll be sharing these videos, but I think that you can take a look at them later. I think that these two brainstorming activities from the College Essay Guy are also nice ones to look at to help you with your brainstorming. And when you're thinking about some kind of general do's and don'ts for the essay, these are some do's that we want to have you keep in mind. So the first is that your opening is really quite important. Because the admissions officers are reading hundreds, thousands of essays, you really want to draw the reader in from the beginning of the essay. So you want your opening to be original. Maybe that's use of imagery or dialogue. but you really want the reader from that very first sentence to want to learn more. You want to make sure that there's self-reflection in your essay, that you're showing how this experience or the situation that you're talking about has brought some growth for you. It's really important that your voice comes across in your essay. This is a little different than the academic writing that you've done. You really want to write it in your voice. And so this essay should sound like it's coming from a teenager. It's important to show in your essay versus tell. So really appealing to the senses, thinking about bringing the reader into the essay with you so that they can see, hear, smell, taste, you know, the things, touch the things that you're talking about, and really that they can feel like they're there with you in your story. You want to show humility, you know, to really show that I can grow from this situation. I've learned from this situation. And sometimes it's okay to talk about setbacks. And finally, you want to come full circle with your essay. You really want to end with some sort of punch, not just saying in conclusion, ... but some sort of punch that the essay reader will remember, have a memorable end for your essay. And then in terms of things that you shouldn't do, your essay should not be a list of your activities that you've been involved in. You have another opportunity in the activities section of your essay to talk about that. You don't want to go over the 650 word limit. Common App will actually cut you off at 650 words. So that's important. And I'd say most important in your final edits to be making sure that you're within that word limit. You want to, you know, don't use sarcasm, you know, sort of use your actual kind of personality, be straightforward and honest. Keep it simple. You don't need to be using a lot of large words. You know, you want this to be really authentic and in your own voice so that the admissions officer could almost hear you reading this essay to them. Write about a topic that's close to your heart that you feel very connected to. And as I said, really kind of keep it simple in terms of your language. So we're just going to watch on the next slide one more video from Friends that kind of illustrates kind of using your own voice.
The adoption agency needs letters of recommendation, and we were wondering if you would write one for us. Of course, I would be honored. Thanks. Thank you.
I think there's been an oversight. Asked you, and just thought you wouldn't be interested.
Yeah, it's just that we don't think of you as really being so much with the words.
Well, wait, oh, hey.
Clearly, we were wrong.
I got a lot of nice stuff to say about you guys, okay? And I know how much you want to have a baby, and I would love to help you get one.
What? Then Joey, we want you to do it.
Thank you. All right, let me see how I'm going to start. Dear baby adoption decider people. So excited about your letter. What you working on? Oh, Monica Chandler's recommendation. I want it to sound smart, but I don't know any big words or anything. So well, why don't you use your thesaurus? What did I just say? You highlight the word you want to change, go under tools, and the thesaurus generates, it gives a whole list of choices. You can pick the word that sounds smartest. Oh my God, that's great. I'm smart. No, I'm brainy, bright, clever. I love this thing. Look out, ladies. Joey Tribbiani's got the whole package. That's my recommendation. Yeah. I think you'll be very, very happy. I don't understand. Some of the words a little too sophisticated for you.
It doesn't make any sense.
Well, of course it does. It's smart. I used a thesaurus. On every word. Yep.
What was this sentence originally?
Oh, they are warm, nice people with big hearts. And that became, they are humid, prepossessing Homo sapiens with full-sized aortic pump. Yeah, and hey, I really mean it, dude.
Okay, Joey, I don't think we can use this.
Why not?
Well, because you signed it, Baby Kangaroo Triviani. Why don't you stop worrying about sounding smart and just be yourself?
You know what? You don't need a thesaurus. Just write from here. Your full-sized aortic pump.
So, you know, that's just sort of a little video about really writing from your own voice and writing from the heart.
So one other thing that's really important to think about is your audience. So remember, the audience who you're speaking to does not know you, you do not know them. So that's going to be very different from your English teacher who has a relationship with you or your counselor. So it is important for you to remember the lens of the admission person, that they're new to you, and you're going to want to consult with your counselor if you're thinking about maybe something that could be a polarizing topic, for example, politics or something like that. We're not saying to stay clear of that per se, just it's important that you run that by someone, knowing that the audience does not know you. So the other thing that is important to remember is that some students have certainly had mental health struggles and challenges which are integral to who they are, and that might be something that they want to also talk about and share in the essay. When you do that, if you do decide to do that, because that's integral to who you are, please consult with your counselor. And also, you don't want to have that define who you are. So that you don't want an admission person to go in and say, oh, I know Jen Gable, she's the person who has something that's a diagnosis. So you want to be really mindful that your challenge has been something that highlights how you've become stronger, more resilient, gives an additional lens into who you are. And also, so also the challenge isn't something that defines you. And that can be something that's really hard to do and challenging to do, particularly when the struggle has been pretty recent. So just think about the timing of that and how you could do that in an effective manner. Because again, going back to the lens, you want to be sure that the admission person understands that you will be someone who can thrive often in a residential community. So sometimes people wonder, is my topic considered cliche? For example, people talk about, the mission trip or scoring the winning goal or things that a lot of people may use. And the truth is that for many students at Acton-Boxborough High School, you may have had similar defining moments in your life. And that is fine. That is completely fine. So a topic isn't necessarily cliche as long as you roll things out in a way that is unique to you. So as Lindsay was saying, really you're going to talk about a mission trip. You're going to talk about one particular moment, bring in the senses. How did that impact you? How did that make you feel? And so we're not so worried about the topic. It's mostly how you roll out the essay itself. Essays can be very effective on a whole range of topics. So as the friends actors portrayed, it's really important that you have your voice in the essay and that your writing and your words sound like you. So you don't have to be a star writer. You need to write from the heart, and it needs to give the admission person a lens into more of who you are. So, couple tips in terms of submitting the essay: spend time on it, have a couple of people check over the essay for proofreading, go through it, and make sure it's really your best effort and that you feel like it captures who you are and that you are proud of it when you hit submit. So I definitely want to shed a light onto a word of caution. Sometimes people think, oh, the more people I have look at my essay, the better it's going to be. And what happens is if you have, 6, 7, 8 people giving feedback into a subjective essay, you will get so many different opinions, and that can often lead to you really losing what you want to say. And remember, this is your essay. So I would say 2 people to have read the essay, maybe someone who knows you really well and maybe someone who doesn't. And so, more people is not better in this situation. So there are a lot of folks who are going to be here to help you and support you, even in this virtual format. Your teachers, your counselors, we are here with you every step of the way. And when you hit submit, you're the one who really should be happy with the essay. It's your voice within the application. So just to summarize and wrap up, the essay is meant to personalize your application within the process, and it's an opportunity for you to say, this is something that's important to me, and this is more of a lens into who I am. So you've got this. We're here for you. And we hope that you'll use these resources that we're providing to get a good start on your essay before school resumes in the fall.